You're listening to the Journey Podcast. Ready to discover the art of heartfelt expression and its power to strengthen connections and enhance emotional health? Stay tuned for today's special episode. Hi, I'm Petra Brunbauer, and with decades of experience with sadness, pain, anxiety, and stress, I finally figured out how to leave all that behind. And this podcast shows you how to break free permanently so you can reclaim your sanity and find the self-esteem and energy to go after the life you desire. With real talk about mental health, holistic healing, and the tough journey of coming out the other end. This is the Journey Podcast. Welcome to today's episode. In this engaging episode, we dive into the art of authentic and heartfelt communication, which is also the central theme of our guest's new book, Speaking with the Heart. As a renowned relationship expert, our guest offers profound insights and practical guidance on how to enhance the quality of our interactions and connections. We explore the transformative power of communicating from the heart, emphasizing the importance of integrity, curiosity, and authenticity in fostering healthier and more fulfilling relationships. Throughout our conversation, we journey together into the intricacies of effective communication and its pivotal role in various aspects of life, from personal relationships to professional endeavors. Our guest's expertise shines as she shares valuable tips and strategies for cultivating deeper connections, resolving conflicts, and creating a more harmonious and heart-centered way of relating to others. As a relationship expert, Dr. Heather Browne has worked with thousands of individuals and couples in psychotherapy. She is a TEDx speaker and keynote speaker. Her couples communication book will be out in January 2024. She's published in hundreds of journals, has an active YouTube channel, has been featured on ABC 7 News, was the relationship expert on KDOC Daybreak OC, and is published in Inc. Toronto Sun, Thriving Family Magazine, Light Plus Life, Brains, Scary Mommy, and Psychology Today. She's a regular guest blogger for both Links for Shrinks and for marriage-friendly therapists. She offers a weekly newsletter packed with tips and techniques to improve relationships. Let's meet Dr. Heather Browne. Hi, Dr. Heather. It's so great to have you on the podcast today. I've been looking forward to having you back on the show, and today's topic, Speaking with the Heart, is such a special topic for a very particular reason, which we'll get into in just a little bit. So welcome back to the Journey Podcast.
It is an absolute honor to be back again. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. I can't wait to speak with you again. And obviously today we're here for a very, very special reason. And that is to give a little bit of a sneak peek at your upcoming book, which is called Speaking with the Heart. For those listeners who haven't listened to our previous episode and who may not know you, can you share a little bit about yourself and who you are and what you do so they can get an idea of where we're going with this today?
Absolutely. I'm from California. I'm a psychotherapist. I've been a psychotherapist for 27 years, and my specialty is communication and working with couples and grief and loss mindset. It comes because when I was a child, my mom was a paranoid schizophrenic. So I realized that we process and see and hear and experience realities in different ways, and also communication in different ways. I grew up looking at relationship a little differently, which then led into me wanting to be a psychotherapist. I bring that into the way that I work with clients to really honor each person's individual experience, their individual expression, and to try to get away from the viewpoint that I am right and you are wrong. But how do we really walk this path together, honoring each other, but not lessening or losing ourselves? That's what Speaking with the Heart is all about.
Wow, I love that. And communication is such a central theme to mental health, to well-being. Without communication, we really lose all the connection to the relationships we have in life. And it is a really big deal. So, what would you say that communication is? First of all, let's start with that. How do you define that?
It's a great question.
Because that's a big topic, right?
Communication is the topic. And communication happens in so many ways. Most of us think speaking, words, but it's so much broader than that because so much of communication is connection. And if you're a sighted person, eye contact, tone, inflection, intention, purpose. We don't think about all of that. Words are in some ways the smallest part, and they're just to try to explain what it is that we're trying to convey. They're just a tool, but we use them as they are it, when really it's our mind thought, our desire, our feelings that are the most important. And that's a key component in helping people learn how to care better for your own mindset, the communication that goes on within ourselves. We will talk to ourselves more than anybody will ever talk to us in our entire life. And for most of us, a lot of the talk that we have going on inside, pretty harsh and pretty critical, pretty judgmental. There's the place of looking at, how do I talk to myself? How do I think about myself? How do I look at you? How do I approach you? And then how do we together come up with agreements and ways of stepping into this relationship differently, honoring each other? There's so much to communication. I like to say communication is a love letter. And I think if you look at it in that way, you think about what you're saying and what you're doing, how you're treating yourself, how you're treating others very, very differently.
Yeah, that's a really great point, that we talk to ourselves the most out of anyone in our life. I never even thought about it that way, but that also means it has a huge impact on our life as we are constantly talking to ourselves about anything and everything that happens. So, wow.
All day long, inner voice going on all day long. And the Buddhists have a beautiful awareness of letting it go, like, oh, that was a thought. There's the belief of my thoughts are just like visitors. They're just like little children. They're just like little birds that come and tweet, tweet. And I did that so poorly. Tweet, tweet. Or you're such an idiot. Tweet, tweet. It's a thought. It's an opinion. It doesn't have to land. And there's also the place to go with, I did that so poorly. Okay, well, next time I'll do it better. I'm such an idiot. Well, no, I just don't really know how to do that well, but I can learn. If you really take time to listen to what you're saying to yourself, you're going to see if it's enjoyable to live inside your head and your body or not. And this is your life. This is your journey. This is your thought process. So to me, the more I can encourage myself, the more I can guide myself, the more I can be like a coach to myself. I'm not saying pussyfoot and make it Pollyanna, not like I'm so perfect, I'm so amazing. No, being honest, but I don't have to beat myself up and I don't have to beat you up. And when we move into that place of recognizing a thought is just a thought, it doesn't mean it's true until we decide it is. It might not be. You think about when you burp, well, it just comes up and there it is, and then it's gone. You don't cling to it. You're not all day long saying, I burped, I burped, I burped, I burped, I burped. But we'll do that with, I look fat.
Yeah.
So there's a place of looking at, like, why am I doing that to myself? Why am I hurting myself instead of helping myself? Or why am I hurting you instead of helping you? So compassionate communication is everything to me.
Yeah, and that's why it is speaking with the heart, right? There is that compassion in there as well. Exactly. So, yeah, that is amazing. Now, communication is a big topic and it encompasses a lot of things, but you have broken it down into 5 components that are part of healthy communication. So, do you want to walk us through what you have come up with for the components? And that might make it a little bit easier for us to kind of see that bigger picture as well in those components.
Absolutely. And there's lots and lots of components to communication, but there's a couple of things that are really integral for it to be healthy. If we look at ourselves and look at how we speak to others, look at how we go into a conversation, if these things are present, it's going to be a little bit of a healthier communication. And the first one is honesty. We all struggle with that. How honest are we? How honest are we with ourselves? How honest are we with somebody else? But there's a really important truth. If I want you to, in any way, have some sort of understanding of me, or if I want to have a good relationship with you, if I am not honest with you about who I am or what I've said or what I've done, I'm giving you a fake persona. And I won't know if you ever really respect me or love me or care for me because I haven't given you that opportunity. Now, what happens for most of us is we're fearful the other person will judge us. So we decide, I'm not going to, or I'm not going to go there, or I'm going to pussyfoot. But then we start to believe the other person wouldn't. And that creates a huge challenge inside because now I'm pulling part of myself back from you. And you have done nothing to tell me that I need to do that. So honesty with yourself, honesty with the other, honesty with the relationship is really important. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to tell them everything, but then say that, like, this is something I'm not comfortable talking about yet. And then you can have that exploration. This is something I want to keep private, but not lying to yourself or to others and making the person something that they really are not. The second one is authenticity, similar to honesty, but it's deeper. Do you allow yourself to have important conversations? Do you let yourself talk about those things that really are pivotal and powerful to who you are and what you represent and how you want to be in this world? And that's a place a lot of people don't really spend a lot of time in their relationships. Some don't want to. But if you're wanting to have a deep, intimate, close relationship, that's going to be an important place to talk about. Do you feel you can share with me? Do you feel I'm available to you? Do you feel like I care about what your experience is? Those are all really important questions to ask in a relationship that's important to you, or even with a boss. You want to make certain that your employer feels like they can bring to you what they need to tell you so you know how you're doing and so you can come through well with your children. It's very, very important. Do they feel that they can come to you when they're struggling or they're scared or they're worried and that you're going to care for them and love them in their experience, not in their ideal way? Mom, I cheated on the test. Well, if your child comes to you with that, you can scream and yell and beat them up, or you can find out, like, well, what's going on that you would make that choice? How are you feeling about yourself in making that choice? What do we need to do about that choice? So there's a lot with working with authenticity that guides you deeper and deeper into finding out more of who that person is and who you are with them and what your relationship is. Integrity. Who do you represent? What are your character traits? How do you want to be known? This one's going to sting a little bit, but how we are in our integrity shows in how we talk to other people. Do I scream and yell at you? Do I put you down? Do I belittle you? That's my integrity. That's not yours. And we tend to flip that. You are this person that I don't like, or I'm going to put down. I make that about your character and your integrity. It's not. It's about mine. It really is always about what we choose to say and what we choose to present. Someone might say something horrible to you. You don't have to respond back with hatred and venom, or you can. But if you choose to, it's not the other person's fault. It's because you've chosen to. It's a hard one to say, like, that is your belief, that is your thought. That doesn't make it true for me. But how you engage with others is about your personal integrity. And I think in our world, that's a place a lot of us need a lot of work because it's hard to not lash back when you think that somebody is misrepresenting you. But if you were to say that, I think you're misrepresenting me, and then show who you really are, instead of attacking them back for them to then get angry with you. I did a YouTube and it's in my book. And the thought is you don't have to feel offended. You don't have to. You could say, no, that's not my truth. You don't have to be offended unless you choose to. That's a huge piece out of integrity. Curiosity. This is one that makes relationships fun, but it's also like the key. And I think we forget it. Like, I want to know what you feel. I want to know what turns you on. I want to know what you think. I want to know what you think about me. I want to learn more and grow more and explore more. And sadly, for a lot of us, the older we get, kind of the more fuddy-duddy we get. And we stop being curious. If you're curious like a child, your relationships are going to be alive. They're going to be vital. There's always more to learn. Every person in the world has something to teach you, and every day has something to teach you. So do you let yourself stay in that beautiful, energetic place of anticipation and excitement and wonder? That's creativity in its own right. That's creation in its own right. That's where passion lives. If you're not being curious in your relationships, you're closing a door to magic happening. And to me, dear Lord, we want as much magic going on as possible. And we want it going on inside of us. Like, it's so fun to be that person who is the person who cultivates or creates or designs or inspires or uplifts. That's our whole energy. Whoosh, you feel it right away. Oh, what about like you stand taller? The whole chakras light up. I mean, you're opening yourself up to what could this be in this moment, which is always our truth. But how often do we let ourselves play there and remember that? I try every single day to start my day with that. Like, I wonder what magic and wonder and amazement today's going to bring. And I wonder what I'll see. I wonder what I'll say. I wonder what I'll share to get you in that place. A lot of people talk about, tell me about like your good moment of the day and your bad moment of the day. I use curiosity. Like, what happened today that like surprised you or excited you or thrilled you, floored you? Because most people kind of good, bad. Well, my friend was nice, bad. I missed a point on my test. And those can be really important. But when you find out also like what was completely new about your day, then you can move into developing a way to grow in that aspect, which is so vital in the relationship. And those people you want to be around. You want to be around people who are curious about you. My late husband had a cousin, and he's passed now, but he was one of the people that when you be with him, he was so excited to see you. And he'd remember what you did. Like, he'd be like, oh my gosh, you just did a TEDx and your book's coming out. And like, what do you think? And you're doing a podcast with Petra, and how like wonderful all of this is. When he died, I remember my husband saying, the world is a less good place without Danny. It was true in that because he truly cared. He wanted to know what was your experience, and everybody loved him because we love to talk about ourselves. And he cultivated that really beautiful quality. So curiosity. And then, of course, love. What is any communication? What is any relationship without that? And even if you don't know the person, there's always the possibility to bring love into every moment. It says that love is the greatest of all the commandments, that God is love, that we are here to be expressions of God for the world and to bring his love toward others. When you really take that into it being a pivotal part of communication, communication is a love letter if you choose for it to be. And I can either bless you with my words or I can harm you and hurt you. I can bless myself with my words or I can hurt myself. And what choice do you make in that? Every breath we take in and when we exhale, We can either be exhaling love and joy and beauty or hatred. So, how do you use each breath? How do you use each word? What are you cultivating yourself in this experience for the world and the world's experience of you? And that makes us a little bit more mindful to think about it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Those are five beautiful, beautiful points. And as you're speaking, I'm imagining how things would change if we all showed up with some or all of those components in our communication, how things would change in our families, at our workplace, with strangers we have to communicate with, how things would start to change if we show up with authenticity and integrity, love, and curiosity. I love the curiosity part of it as well. I am just thinking about how that would change how we show up with other people, and possibly would even affect the people we communicate with to also then start bringing those components into the communication. So I think I would have this beautiful ripple effect when we communicate.
And it's a safe and healing container when you bring those.
Yeah.
And then people can feel that. If you allow yourself to take whatever communication is coming your way, filter it through in whatever way you need to filter it through, but really hold yourself to your own personal integrity of, well, how do I choose to bring back into this? If you don't choose to hurt, harm, put down, negate, belittle, diminish somebody else, then that person's going to stay at a higher level themselves. And the more we do that, then we start leveling up. I had somebody say to me just this morning, she said, you are helping the world vibrationally with what you bring. And I thought, oh, like, isn't that awesome? But that is what we can do. Any communication. Can I help you hold here if this is a place you need to hold? Can I try to help you as you lift yourself up, as you're lifting yourself up? And if you're in a place to try to cause harm, can I either remove myself or can I hold myself firm so I don't drop down? And if we were all mindful of that, we would all just keep leveling up, or at least staying, instead of this that we do. We've all had situations where we've been around somebody and the situation has been really tense, and one person handled it with integrity, with love, with honesty, and maybe curiosity as well. And we see that, and it humbles you. Years and years ago, I was at a market and this kid was just screaming, and the mother, she was truly having a horrible time. And everyone was upset because it was awful. And when I was getting ready to pay, in my head, I'm thinking, like, shut that kid up, and what's wrong with him, and why wasn't the mother doing something? The man behind me in line, I didn't look at him. The man behind me in line said, I wonder what is hurting that child so much that he is protesting so loud. And my heart cracked because I had no compassion for him and no compassion for the mother. In my head, I was highly judgmental. And I wanted to look around, but I felt it would have been like Jesus or God, or I would have been like, so I lowered my head and I paid and then went out to my car feeling really small. And I tried to not beat myself up too much, but really look at that and realized I have no idea. Maybe the father locked out the day before. Maybe the mom was on drugs. Maybe they were homeless. I have no idea what was going on in their life, but I was so quick to think he was some unruly, horrible child. When we come to be with someone, we don't know what they are experiencing in their life. And I think we are seeing that more so now when we're more aware of the tragedies that are going on. Who are we to make some sort of judgment about another? It's really sad. And our world is incredibly judgmental in how we do that, instead of trying to be honoring, respectful, offering grace, offering compassion, stepping out if someone's going to hurt you. You don't need to stay if someone in any way is going to be hurting you, or it's just not something you choose to engage in. But you don't need to do something that's destructive to the other person, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Very rarely. And I think we don't respect that enough.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And I was going to ask you about there are challenging situations which we sometimes have to communicate in or about, especially when it comes to finances or we have family conflicts going on. And there are sometimes tough situations where we have to communicate with loved ones or friends or coworkers. So how do we approach these kind of situations that might really be even triggering us and be challenging for us without them ending in the conflict where we might actually end up saying things that we wish we hadn't? So, how do we approach that?
Such a great question. I think first recognizing like this is something that really triggers me, which means I'm already believing something's going to go on negatively toward me. What do I need to do to take care of myself before I even bring up this topic to you? Maybe I need some time to really feel solid within myself. Or maybe I need to come up with a whole bunch of options so that I feel like I have things to share with you if we're in a process. And then make certain that you've done your due diligence so that you feel you can show up for yourself. And then I would approach the person and say, there's something that I'd like to talk to you about. I'm a little nervous because it's a tough one for me, but I want to come through this well. When is a good time for you? And then wait for them to share with you something we don't think about. But when I'm thinking about something and saying, oh, I probably need to talk to you about this, and this bothers me, and this, and this, and this, and this, and this, the other person might not have any awareness of that. So if you let them know it's something you want to talk about, then they move into the place of thinking about it as well. If you also let them know, I care about you very much, and I want this conversation, I'm hoping, to go really well. This is the outcome I would like to have. And I want to walk it with you as carefully as we can, because I don't want either of us to feel hurt in this. Are you willing to do that with me? If you're to say before a conversation, you are so important to me. This topic is important, but you are more important to me than this conversation. Then it's about the relationship and the topic, not the topic and the relationship follows. Most of us do it the opposite way. What I do in conversations, I say at some point, if you're feeling uncomfortable or you need to take a little break or you don't like something I've said, let me know. We'll stop right there and I will try to say it differently or respect the fact that my tone maybe hasn't been stellar. And I will try to move into a place where I can get back to a place where I can really listen again. I teach people how to take pauses safely and how to pace safely in communication. It's so important. And we don't do it. We just keep slamming and slamming and slamming and slamming. We don't know when our emotions are getting high that we probably need to take a break because we're getting all up into our emotive. Take a break, calm, and then get back to like, okay, what is it I'm trying to convey? Where am I trying to go? If I want to have this podcast be something that blesses, then I need to think about how I'm going to present myself. If I don't care about that whatsoever, I can just throw whatever out in any way and interrupt and leave and not respect this space. So there's the place of where are you wanting this to go? If I want you to love me, I'm not going to be attacking you, but we forget that. And we get highly into the emotive state and we lose our ration. We lose our deeper understanding. And I'm not saying don't be emotional 100%. Find out what that's about, but that's not all of what it's about. And we get caught on that. You don't care about my feelings. You don't love me. Get way off of what it is we've been trying to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. Those are some fantastic points. And also asking the person when is a good time to talk, because we don't even know what space we're catching them in, right? Often we come home from work, we've been chewing on this all day. Okay, now we dump it on the other person, but they may have had a really difficult day as well. They may have had experiences and they're not in a good headspace to talk. Very often we forget to even find out if that is a good time to talk. So, yeah, amazing points.
We're about to give some big presentation.
Yeah.
How many times do you say, I just needed a minute?
Yeah.
Something that's almost always bad news when it feels that way. Otherwise, it was great. Be like, okay, you love me, but it's bad news. And the person says, oh my gosh, now how am I going to give this presentation? It's why doctors say, call me back.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because
Makes
they need
sense.
you to say, okay, what do I need to know?
Yeah. till you have that space ready. Yeah. Those are some amazing points. And I am so looking forward to reading your book because already the tips that you have given here and what you've talked about have been so inspiring. I am sure that listeners are curious. How can they connect with you and where can they find your book? We'll be linking to where they can purchase that. And what else do you offer? Do you offer programs or services, anything where listeners could work with you or connect with you outside and around your book?
Absolutely. I have my practice. I also coach. I offer workshops throughout the year. I have a weekly newsletter. So there's lots and lots of ways. I'm all over the different social medias with TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and all of that. So if you go to my website, that's kind of like the hub of me. And it'll be in the show notes, but it's www.drheather.com, Dr. Heather Browne. And my social media links are there. The podcasts I've done are there. This one will be on it too. Once it's live, my book is available there and the Amazon link will be there. Or questions too. Any questions that listeners have that they'd like to ask? There's so much to communication. And I'm always honored when people want to communicate with me. So any thoughts you have or feelings you have, if it's something you don't want to put in the show notes, feel free to reach out to me. I'd be honored.
Yeah, there we go with the speaking with the heart. So I can't wait to read your book. And of course, we will be linking to all of your offerings in the show notes as well. So be sure to check there on how you can get a hold of Dr. Heather, where you can find her book, which I am sure you will really enjoy reading, and also all the social links on how you can connect with her. Well, this has been another incredible episode, and I really hope our listeners have enjoyed this journey into speaking with the heart as much as I have. It has been fantastic hosting you again on the podcast, Dr. Heather, and thank you so much for coming back and sharing your wisdom with us. It has been an incredible time.
You are just an absolute gift and a delight in my life. So I am always honored to come and be with you whenever the room fits and when it's blessed.
Oh, thank you so much. And good luck with the book launch. And we will absolutely be promoting that as well, making sure the word gets out to the world. And keep shining your light. You're such a beautiful soul. And thank you so much. And take care, Dr. Heather.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to listen in. If you enjoy the Journey podcast, please support us by subscribing, sharing on social media, and leaving us a review. We appreciate you. And you can find more of The Journey on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and our website, thejourney.com. Sending you love and courage, and see you next time.